Morning and welcome along. In today's video we are going to make something simple, and it's going to be with wood and resin, and it's going to be an easy project that you can do, but your finished product is going to look proper high-end. And I've made several of them, although I haven't actually made any to sell. I've just been trying to perfect the technique and get to a point where I really like it. And what we're going to make is we're going to make a cube lamp. It's kind of a nightlight, and I have made several of them, from little ones to big ones. And these ones were made for electric candles, so that it has that flicker effect in it. This one is made for, excuse me, this one is made for a light puck. So the light puck goes inside, works off a remote. Now you can't really see the lights inside because of the lights and such like in here, but it does give off a nice ambient glow. So that's what we're going to do today. All you need for this is 3 or 4 sections of wood. Obviously that's your choice what sort of wood you use, but for me, being me, I'm going to use oak. So I'm going to use 3 pieces of oak. We're going to enlarge these, because when I did make this, I did find that the light does shine through, but it's not really wide enough. So I'm going to make these wider. Anyway, let's get on with it. Oh, as a side note, you may notice that I sound windswept and interesting all of a sudden, which I'm not. But my wife caught the dreaded lurg last week, and over the weekend she gave it to me to try on for size, and apparently it fits. So for the next few days I'm going to sound like this. Oh well, let's get on, eh? Now what we have here is we have a mould which I've made, and this will be the lamp. We'll put 3 sections of oak in here. Now this is just made of ply. We've sealed it up with mastic, just your normal sort of bathroom sealer, but we will put some tape around it. Now if there's one thing that I do know, is that if there is a gap anywhere, the resin will find it. So we're going to wrap it up in parcel tape now. And there we go. All taped up. Because like I say, if resin finds a gap, it'll be everywhere, and we don't want that. So the next thing to do is to put the oak in. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little blob of mastic on the bottom, and that will stick it down. So, and we have to make sure that that is flat on the bottom, because we don't want anything going out of cock. Do the same with this one, a little bit. Now once it's set, this will hold it down, no problem whatsoever. So there we go. And then the third one goes in the center. And there we go. Now we let that set, and then we can pour the resin. Right. So it is the next day. These are all set in place. They're stuck down with the silicone, and all we have to do now is mix up the resin to pour in to there. Okay. And what we can do is you can add a little colour if you want, but the light puck that you're going to use, if you use one of these, is going to be different colours anyway. So, and that works off the remote. So what I'm going to put in here is just clear resin. So let's mix that up now. As we did in our last project, we're going to use Mould resin. So that's 300 of the resin and 150 of the hardener. We've got 300 of the resin, and half of 300 is 150, so we need to go to 450. That's my neighbour's dog, who likes to imitate police cars. I quite like it, actually. But then I'm weird. Right. Where's my stirry stick? Right. And remember, you see how it's kind of cloudy. And then when we mix it, it will. Now it's cold conditions today, so it may take a little more mixing. See how we started to mix it and it's gone completely cloudy now. But we'll keep mixing, and it'll go clear again. So bring on the high speed. And there we go. That's more or less clear. The only thing that's discolouring it now is the bubbles that are in it, but the pressure pot will take care of those. So back to this. Take our stirry stick out, give it a wipe off, and then pour it in. Easy. And what we'll do is, because we've got gaps on the ends, we'll overfill it, because the last thing we want to do is to come back in 2 or 3 days and find that it's sank, and we're going to have to refill. Because if we do refill, then we're going to get a layer line where the old resin meets the new resin. So overfill it. We'll keep a little bit of resin back because we're going to put it in the pressure pot now, but we'll check it in a couple of hours to see if it's sank. And if it has sank, then we can refill it or just top it up. That's that. Let's put it in the pressure pot. This is the nerve-wracking bit, getting it into the pot. Da-da. Right, we're in the centre. Although, and then clamp it up. So there we go. For this one, we're at 30 psi. I'm going to check that in a couple of hours, make sure it hasn't dropped. If it has, I'll top it up as needed. And the next time you see it will be in about 3 days. Okay, so there it is. And it's set. So we just need to get it out, which takes a bit of time because we made sure that nothing would come out. So now we've got to try and get into it. So we'll take the tape off first, run down the sides. How easy would you think it'll come out? There we go. One side done. There's still a little bit of warmth in there, so it's still curing. Yeah. Let's try this other side. Go.
go. And the last bit, there we go. Remake that and we're ready to go again. Okay, so there we go. Fresh out the mould. Obviously it doesn't look great, but then nothing does when it comes out the mould. It needs to be finished, sanded and finished. But the main thing is we've got clear resin, we've got no bubbles, so we're doing all right. So now starts the laborious bit. Okay, so we've took what we had out of the mould earlier on and we've given it a 60 grit and an 80 grit sanding, and now it's all square and it's all smooth. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of a chamfer on all the corners. That just gives it that little bit of a more of a high-end look. So we're going to do that now anyway. Now just tidy those up with a bit more sanding. And as you see, we're getting that see-through. So once we get a hole drilled into it and get it finished, put the light in, that should shine quite nicely. Finish of choice is my usual, which is Osmo. And once this has had a couple of coats, we're done. And after 2 coats of Osmo, we have a cube lamp. We'll put a little bit of a door on the bottom so we can get our puck inside. So there we go, 1 cube nightlight made out of oak and resin. Works on a remote. You can have any colour you want, as long as it's black. I mean, red, blue, green, or clear. If we turn the shop lights off, then there we go, brighter. So not bad for a few days work. Obviously we had to wait for the resin to set up, but quite an easy project. So if you want to have a go, feel free.